breaking. The Trump administration live updates. FBI search home and office of John Bolton, Trump advisor turned critic. It looks like, I don't know why this is such a bit. What was that? Go ahead and read it, Libby.
Yeah, so it turns out John Bolton is also being investigated for potential violations of the Espionage Act, which makes it a crime to illegally retain or transmit national defense information, according to people familiar with the matter who spoke on the condition of anonymity to discuss details of the case.
Yeah.
But this also came up on, I think, on Jesse Waters as well.
So yeah, so they're investigating Bolton as well. The Espionage Act is it's a very big deal. That implies that he's given national secrets to foreign entities, right?
Yeah, so that would mean that he was sharing classified information, not just to write his dumb book, but to, potentially undermine the foreign affairs of the Trump administration, which is what he's been trying to do since Trump came into office in January anyway.
I'm thinking the T word is on the table here. The
You
T
think
word.
so?
I don't know if you know it. It's a very big word. It's a big word.
It is.
Treason.
Word.
Treason.
Yeah.
Very bad things.
That's what this is.
So that's pretty interesting. That really makes it a lot less of a, so-called political prosecution, and it puts it into the realm of actual criminality.
But if they're nailing the, sorry to interrupt you.
No, go for it.
The espionage aspect of it, if it's that he took classified information and put it in his book, and now the Chinese government's able to read his book, so that's espionage. I'm like,
I think that's different.
Yeah.
I don't think.
I would hope.
Yeah, that seems like that would.
But this indicates that he's actually sending information to
Or
foreign
just
countries.
sharing information with people that he is not authorized to share information with.
This is totally pontificating, or maybe I'm asking you guys to pontificate. But who do you like?
That is the job.
Who are the
whole
most
point.
likely? Who are the most likely recipients of this information? Do you think that he would be sharing it with like Ukraine or with?
Well, he was into the whole Ukraine war, right?
Yeah.
So. I don't know. I mean, I'm not great with foreign affairs, I got to say.
That was the first thing that came to mind for me is like
Like
sharing information.
we know that the former chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, Mark Milley, was like calling the Chinese, offering them assurances that he had no right and no authority to do outside of the chain of command, undercutting the president whom he answered to. So I mean, I got to say,
I don't know why they haven't called him back and actually court-martialed that guy.
That was crazy. I forgot about that. That was seriously messed up.
Well, bringing up Bolton and the Espionage Act just reminded me of this, and I just have to say, like, it's time not to just have raids. Or we need arrests.
Yeah,
like,
well, I mean,
we need arrests. Hopefully, we're getting there, but we need arrests.
This is something that we talk about. There's a lot of people that are even like that sit around the table a lot. We were talking about it last night. There are people that are extremely impatient. They believe that Donald Trump should have come back in and like people should have been arrested immediately. And I've been like, look, you need to understand that there is a process that they have to go through because you don't want people to get arrested and then get away with it. If you don't have all your ducks in a row and you don't have all of this stuff together when you prosecute and you charge them and they get out because you didn't have your S together, then you can't charge them again because of double jeopardy, right? Like they've already beaten the charge. You can't charge them again. You don't want to just willy-nilly do this stuff. Now, I hear, and this is just stuff that I've read on X and stuff, but I hear there are grand juries being assembled for multiple different infringements or different charges that have been brought against people or they're looking to see. So I do think that arrests will be coming or more arrests will be coming. But I think that this situation with Bolton, it shows that they are working on this stuff. And so I agree with you totally. I want to see more, but I also have, at least as far as my gut says, like patience is better because it means that if they do make an arrest, they have a more solid case. The feds have like a 95%. They have like a 95% conviction rate when they or higher. Yeah. Like if they arrest someone, they have their shit together.
Or they're kangaroo courting it up, one or the other. But
well, I mean,
those numbers are so high.
I think
possible.
One of the issues here too is that like for a lot of these things, we've been aware of them for so many years. Yep. And it's like, Biden, it was Biden's DOJ. Like they weren't going to go roll up Mark Milley, right? Yep. Or look into, they closed the case on Bolton, right? So it's like, you're right. It's only August still. It's not even September yet. So Good word, Phil.
Like I said, I mean, I have the same impulses. I want to see people go to jail that have violated the law. I think that there's been tons of political prosecutions from the Democrats. There was a point that you made earlier. You were talking about you think that the Democrats would come after possibly you. I think that if the Democrats get back into power, I think they will come after people like Joe Rogan. They'll come after people like Tim. They'll come after people all over the right, people that are influencers, because the influencers, they believe that the influencers are why they lost. They don't believe that their policies were bad. They don't believe that people rejected Kamala Harris because of her inability and her stunning lack of political skill. They believe that it was because influencers and people were lying and telling stories and all sorts of things. They believe that free speech is a bad thing. So I think that they will come after a lot of conservatives using whatever tools they have at their disposal, which the federal government has significant tools at their disposal. I mean, they'll come after as many people as they can.
What do you think about, and this is a little bit of a tangent, but I really want to talk about Gavin Newsom, because I think he saw what you're talking about, that it was the power of the communication of like podcasts and things that elevated. Like Trump went on Rogan 2 weeks before the election, went on Theo Vaughn, huge exposure to a new crowd of people, or people that didn't quite know, maybe were on the fence. And Newsom saw that, so he's been doing podcast runs. I think he's going to be the Democratic nominee in 28.
He's willing it into action. He put it on his, his wish board. He's going to make it happen.
Okay, so it'd be him and J.D. Vance if things keep
you
flowing.
already see him going after J.D. Vance. There was this crazy thing this week where Gavin Newsom posted a picture of himself in high school versus Vance.
Oh, yeah.
And he looks like this prep school pretty boy with a really nice scarf. And J.D. Vance looks kind of like a fat, weird kid. And you're looking at it and you're like, I'd rather have the fat, weird kid than the guy with the pretty boy with the scarf.
Yeah, a couple of points on that. One is that I think Newsom will probably get it, but you have to remember.
I'm not so sure.
I was going to say, you have to remember that like so much of it has to go through the black vote, and particularly in the South. And are they going to go for Newsom or not? It was when Biden was struggling in the primary. Clyburn had to go drag his rear across the finish line in South Carolina to lock it up for him.
I'm not so sure that Clyburn will give the blessing to Gavin Newsom, and if Clyburn doesn't give him the blessing, he will not be the guy. First of all, second of all, I don't think that as well as anyone else that the Democrat Party has so many people that are very committed to the progressive agenda, to the whole woke thing. A white guy with that, I mean, if you've seen the pictures of his family, blonde family.
They don't really care about that. They only care about power.
No, the progressives that are the people that are going to be voting in the primary care. The people that are like your major Democrat
they have
voters.
No leader. I mean, the thing is, he's the
hold
only
on.
one.
They're going to. I think that he would have a significantly difficult time getting over that hump. He would need, and one of our guests that was here the other day made a great point. He would need someone like Crockett as the VP, which is kind of hilarious.
On his podcast the other day?
No.
He had her on the other day, and he was praising her and telling her how wonderful she is.
Yeah.
And of course, she's awful. And she went out there saying that ICE are supposed to be Uber drivers for illegal immigrants, and that's their whole job.
Insane.
She just got redistricted in Texas.
Well, she might be looking for a job, but if you have someone like Jasmine Crockett, then maybe he has a better chance. But I don't know if he can do it alone, because the Democrat Party still has that civil war going on. Are they a normal party, or are they the progressive party?
It seems like they failed. The progressive Democratic Party has failed and is shattered. And now Newsom's there to pick up the pieces. I don't think he's really a nut job.
But it hasn't yet.
It's like in the process, yeah.
It hasn't left behind the woke stuff. There's a massive fight in the Democrat Party about whether they are between the progressives and the liberals. Just the other day, someone Kayla, the not so erudite, was posting on X, and I thought it was a ridiculous thing that she said, but she said that she had a clip of the woman and the black Republican guy and the radical progressive from Jubilee, and where the woman was doing all of the making all the intersectional arguments, and the conservative
and tone
kid,
policing
the conservative kid just ragdolled her. He just beat the snot out of her. And Kayla said something along the lines of, Democrats or liberals should have never agreed to this stuff. We don't agree to it, talking about the progressive ideology. We don't agree to it, and we should have never let these people get so loud. I personally think
they're going to elect Mom Donnie to lead New York City.
I personally think that statement is ridiculous. I think that she's saying that because there are so many people that have actually come out against woke. The Democrats have never had a worse or haven't had such a bad brand in 50 years or something like that. And I think that she's doing damage control because your average liberal absolutely was on board with all the progressive stuff. When they thought they were winning, they were all on board with it. You know, it was very rare. There were very few. There were few, not, and maybe Kayla's one of them. I'm not familiar with her work, but there are very few people in the Democrat Party that were what you would consider regular liberals, not progressives, but regular liberals that were speaking up against the progressives because the progressives were so loud and so aggressive.
But that's what
and they would call them all. They would call them all the names. They would call them racist, blah blah blah. If you tried to push back, so nobody had the balls to.
And
so
a lot of those people are now in the Republican Party, and they voted for Trump.
So the idea that the liberals weren't on board with it, I think, is totally ridiculous.
Some of the liberals were afraid of. They were voting against Trump, not necessarily for the psycho policies, and so those people now is the opportunity because there won't be Trump in 28. Obviously, it'll be Vance probably. And it's just a matter of, is Vance going to scare people? Like, I don't think he needs to.
It doesn't matter if Vance is going to scare people. The left is going to scare people. They were preparing the field for Vance to be considered worse than Donald Trump. The argument's going to be, look, Donald Trump was bad, but Donald Trump was a buffoon. J.D. Vance is much smarter. J.D. Vance went to I think he went to Harvard, right? He went to this elite the Ivy League school. J.D. Vance made a bunch of money in the tech world. He's much smarter. He's much more dangerous. He's worse than Trump.
Donald Trump was Hitler, but J.D. Vance is worse.
You know that they were doing it when...
Well, he's not Stalin. Like, they couldn't say that.
Hitler.
But they were doing that exact same thing when what's his name from Florida was running? DeSantis. They started laying the groundwork for DeSantis is worse than Trump because, and it was the same argument. Trump's a buffoon and DeSantis is smart. DeSantis is a lawyer. DeSantis is this. Trump, so he's
but none
worse
of it has
than Trump.
To do with Gavin Newsom. And you were saying that you think that the Democrats aren't going to go for Newsom because he's a white guy. And I think when the Democrats are in trouble, they always go back to the white guy because all of those liberal women who go out there and complain about everybody, they really just trust a white guy.
I think they have to figure out who they are as a party.
They are not going to figure that out. And when they do figure it out, it's going to be the far left. That's what they're going to go for. They're leaning towards Mamdani. They're leaning towards all that stuff. And that's why you see the big problem where Hakeem Jeffries and Chuck Schumer, they're not endorsing Mamdani, but they're also not saying anything against him. Because they can't. They have to wait and see what happens in November.
The revolution never stops where you
Cuomo, they're not going to. New Yorkers aren't going to go for Cuomo.
Of perpetual revolution. And so, I mean,
they didn't used to be. They didn't used to be. I mean, if the Democrats could actually go back to their, non-racist roots as, a party that is pro-union, where you can be a pro-life Democrat, where, you're pro-social safety net, but you're, like the 1986 liberals.
Well, no, I know what you're saying, but I mean, I don't see.
That's now what MAGA is.
Thanks for checking out this clip from Timcast IRL. Make sure to watch the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Subscribe to this channel, and we will see you all there.